All right, good morning. This morning I am going to be showing you how to find a line of best fit and a curve of best fit using your Desmos calculator. Now, on the screen here, what you'll notice is I have two types of graphs. These are the two types of graphs that you're going to be seeing for the next few days. The first one we are really familiar with. The first graph is a linear graph, which we have spent a lot of time with, and it's called linear because the graph is a line. The graph is a straight line. And we know from our experience that the equation for this line is y equals mx plus b. The m stands for the slope of the line, and the b stands for the y-intercept of the line. Now, this second graph is new to us. I want you to notice that it is U-shaped, and I want you to notice that it is called a quadratic graph. I like sometimes to write the word quadratic this way because kind of emphasizing that U reminds me that a quadratic graph is a U-shaped graph. So notice, it's not a straight line, it is curved. Now, this quadratic graph has its own equation, and that equation still starts out y equals, but it has ax squared, so notice there's an exponent in it, plus bx plus c as its equation. So you are going to need to know the linear equation and the quadratic equation to do the problems that we're about to do. All right, so now let me show you how you can use your Desmos calculator to come up with these equations. All right, so I've got my Desmos calculator open here. Whoops, didn't mean to make him that big. Okay, so over here on the left, I have our first example. Now what you'll notice is we have a table with x's and y's. A coordinate plane is provided, but we're not going to graph using that coordinate plane. We're going to use our Desmos calculator to do our graphing. Let me scoot this over here so that it's not on top of my Desmos. Now, you'll notice the first question they want you to answer is this linear or is it quadratic? And then we're actually going to find its equation. So to do that, we'll come over here to Desmos and I have to move this a little bit. Okay, so we'll come over here to Desmos and we're going to get here on this first line. And what I want you to do is press this plus sign. Now, when you press the plus sign, what you'll see is table is an option. And that's what I have over here is I have this table. So I'm going to press table. Now, you'll notice it says x1 instead of just x, and it says y1 instead of just y. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my x's. So I'll type in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And you'll notice that I'm using my computer keyboard to type those numbers in. It's just a little easier for me. So now I'll click over here in Y1 and I'll do these Y values. So I'll do 3 and 6 and 7 and 6 and 3. And I'm going to press my enter button to, well, no, that was the wrong thing to do. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to come down here and click now on this second line. So here is my table. Now over here, you'll see that it's plotted those points, and I am seeing a U shape to these points. It's upside down, and that's okay. When I see this U shape, what that lets me know is this graph is quadratic. So in this blank, I would write quadratic. Now, time to come up with the equation. To come up with the equation, I come back over here to Desmos. I'm down here on this second line. Now, we've already talked about that for a quadratic equation, it is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, let me show you how you're going to type this into Desmos, okay? Now, first of all, notice that your Desmos table, instead of having y, has y1. So you're going to have to type in y1. Your equation over here starts out y equals. You're going to have to do y1 because that's what the table says. Now, it won't let you put an equal sign here. I know we have an equal sign on the Desmos keyboard. You have an equal sign on your computer keyboard, but an equal sign won't work here. It won't give us the answer we want. Instead of the equal sign, they want you to use this little squiggle mark. So that's going to serve as our equal sign. Now, where is that located? I'll show you a couple of places. You can press the ABC down here on your Desmos keyboard, and you will see your squiggle right there. Or on your computer keyboard, find your number 1 key that has the 1 on it, and that squiggle is to the left of that, directly to the left. You'll have to press Shift and that button to get that little squiggle mark. Now, I'm going to type in, excuse me, this ax squared plus bx plus c. But notice that my x's are going to have to be x1s. So I'm going to type in ax1, and then I'm going to hit this a squared button. So there's my ax squared plus bx1 plus c. So I'm typing in this exact equation, but I make the y a y1, I make the equal sign that squiggle, and the x's in this equation have to be x1s. Okay, now, if you come over here and you scroll down, what you'll notice is the calculator gives you a number for A, a number for B, and a number for C. So it tells you that this A right here is a -1. So when you come down here to write your equation, you're going to write y equals a -1 x squared. Now, you have plus bx. Well, the calculator tells you that b is 0. So you're going to do plus 0x. And then notice at the end there is plus c. The calculator tells you that c is 7, so you'll have plus 7. So the 3 numbers the calculator gives you will help you write this equation. Now, we can simplify this a bit. -1x squared, we know that 1 would be invisible, so they would probably just put -x squared. The plus 0x, that's just going to disappear because 0 times x is just 0. So I can take that out of the problem, and then my plus 7. So y equals -x squared plus 7 would be my answer. Now, I know that's a lot to do, but we're going to do several examples, and we're going to practice this for several days. So it will get easier as we go. So if that seems a little complicated, back up, rewatch the example again. It will get easier. We had the same experience here in class doing this. It was complicated at first. All right, so here's another example. So we're going to put this table into our Desmos calculator. So hit your plus sign and tell the calculator you want to make a table. All right, x's. We're going to type in -6, -3, 0, 3, and 6. Now I'll click over here on my y's and I'll type in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, now when I look at my graph over here, I see those points making a line. So this is a linear function. Now, the purpose of that first decision, linear or quadratic, is to let you know which equation to use. So because it's linear, I'm going to use the equation y equals mx plus b. When I type this in, though, I'm going to have to make my y a y1. I'm going to have to make my equal sign a squiggle. Boy, I didn't do a good job drawing that. I'm going to have to make my x an x1, so it's going to be mx1 plus b. So this is what I'm going to type into my calculator to get it to give me the equation. Make the y a y1, the equal sign a squiggle, and the x the x1. So now, over to the Desmos calculator. Down here on the second line, we're going to type y1 squiggle mx1. Oh, and I didn't mean to cap lock that. mx1 plus b. And if I scroll, you'll notice that I have m equal to 0.3 repeating, and I have b equal to 4. So I have m equal to 0.3 repeating. You may remember that's the same as the fraction 1/3, and my b is equal to 4. So I'm going to put 1/3 right here. I'm going to put positive 4 right here, which will make my equation y equals 1/3 x plus 4. So I have to decide linear or quadratic because that tells me which equation to use. And then the calculator does all the work of finding those numbers for me. Okay, so here is our third example. Delete what you have over here on your Desmos. Now you may want to pause the video at this point and try this one first on your own and see how you do, or watch me do it, whatever you want to do, but I will explain it. So if you want to pause right here and try it, and then you can watch me do it and see if you get it right. So I'll stop just a second to give you time to pause if you want. Okay, so to work this problem, first we will add an item, and we want to add a table. X's are -5, -3, 0, 2, and 4. In the Y column, we want 10, 6, 0, -4, and -8. Now, when I look at my points, they appear to be making a line, so this would be linear. And now that I know it's linear, I know what equation to use. A linear equation is the y equals mx plus b equation. For the calculator, I will have to make that y1 squiggle. Why can't I make one of those? mx1 plus b. See if I can clean that up a little. I don't like that. y1 squiggle, that's a little better, mx1 plus b. So that's what we're going to type in over here. So y1 squiggle mx1 plus b. And notice it draws the line and shows me that it fits. All right, so my m is a -2 and my b is 0. So y equals mx is going to become y equals negative 2x plus 0. But we know they would probably shorten that up and just do y equals negative 2x. So I put in the table and I decide linear or quadratic because that lets me know which equation to type in. And then the calculator will get me my numbers and I will be done. All right, so one last example. All right, so on this one, same thing. If you want to pause right here and try it on your own, I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, so I'm going to add a table and type in my x's, negative 8, negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, and 0. Go over to my y column, negative 1, negative 7, negative 9, negative 7, negative 1. Now, I can see my graph. So now I decide if it's linear or quadratic, and I can see my U shape. So this is going to be quadratic. Now, that tells me which equation to use. So I know I'm going to use y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. But I know for calculator purposes, I'm going to have to change that. My y is going to be a y1. My equal is going to be a squiggle. And those x's are going to be x1. So it's going to be ax1 squared plus bx1 plus c. All right, so let's go over here and let's type that in. So y1 squiggle, ax1, and I'll use my little a squared right here to get that, plus bx1 plus c. All right, so I've got my numbers right here. I know that my A is 0.5, which is 1/2. I know that my B is 4. And I know my C is negative 1. So my equation is going to be y equals ax squared. I'm going to make that a 1/2. So that's going to be 1/2 x squared. All right, plus bx. I'm going to make that be a 4. So that's going to be plus 4x. Plus c, my c is a negative 1. So instead of a plus, I'm going to put a minus. Negative means minus 1. So y equals 1/2 x squared plus 4x minus 1 would be your equation. As always, if anything in this video is unclear or if you have questions, contact me here at school.